We are very privileged to be blessed with the 2023, newly minted 2023 PGA Teacher of the Year, Kevin Weeks. Kevin's worked with us for a really long time, and most of what we do on this force plate is related to the long game, related to hitting the ball further, getting more power, working on our path and our angle of attack and all of those things. Kevin has created a new market. He's really good with the short game. And we don't have a whole lot of how we use the ground in the short game, which it is essential. How you interact with the ground is essential, whether you're moving the club. Long game, short game, doesn't matter. And so he's really expanded our knowledge in terms of how we understand the short game based on the ground reaction force plates. And so I will turn it over to you, Mr. Teacher of the Year.
You're not going to ask me any questions?
No questions.
Oh, okay.
You are up. Well, we'll get questions.
All right.
Do you want it live?
Yeah, let's go live.
Okay, we'll go live. There we go.
So once I got the swing catalyst, I instantly started playing around with short game shots because I'm ADHD and I got really bored really quickly hitting golf balls. After about 10 balls, I'm bored. I was the guy in your class, with the compass in the back making society. That's me. You got a couple of those?
I got lots of those.
And so I started messing around with it, short game, and the more I did, the more I saw patterns changing. And that kind of surprised me. And the one thing that I saw with the good player on that 40, 50-yard shot stayed really centered on the backswing, and the pressure really didn't move much from address to the end of the backswing. But when I watched the average person, I saw a big old move. Some stayed back, some stayed forward. And what I noticed, the more people moved, the less consistent the low point was. And then that's one thing. Boy, it makes me feel good. Art going. That's one of the big things that I want to do in the short game is I want to set at impact the loft the club's going to be hit with and where the low point is. If you can control those two things, the student will normally figure out how much swing to make the ball go the desired distance. So this 30, 40-yard shot, really staying centered, but making sure there was rotation back through on those shots. That worked great. Then I started looking at the vertical force. And the players that hit the low spinning shot had more vertical force than the ones that the ball hit and ran out. I'm not real smart. But it took me a little while. I had to throw some spray paint, some chalk spray on the face to realize that's how they were shallowing the angle, flattening the flow spot, and hitting it low in the face. So then, okay, now the swing callus really helped me teach what happened. And to show them how to do it without a ball, watching the vertical force. Can you record this, please? You're fine, Scott. I don't want to hit you.
The camera.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, you ready? Now, I just want to see regular. I don't need to see both.
Move it way over to the left there. Oh, I didn't get it. One more time. You were too early. Jump the gun there. Go for it.
Boy, if Travis would have said that, we've heard that before. You ready?
Yeah.
You think we can get it this time?
There you go.
That wasn't as good.
There we go.
Yeah, like I said, that one wasn't quite as good. But the vertical force on a normal one is around 115, 120 on the 30, 40-yard shot for most people. That one goes up to 150 and would have liked to have stayed more on my front, pushing up and turning to catch it lower on the face. That gives you a little better, a little higher angle to hit that one that spins. Now, the really interesting thing was the shots around the green. The little bitty ones, me to art, was further forward than I even thought with the good players. The good players were way... Can we go live? Live. Most people were right in here, right around 50-50. Even though, and the hands would go forward, the better the player, the more forward they were on the low shots around, even finishing further forward. The average was center, or even you would see some people that were back here. So I had a lot of people go this way, or even put their right foot on a paint bucket, where from here they have to hit down, teaching them where their front foot is. And that was one of the big things that surprised me, was how much further the average player had their center of pressure versus what I thought. Anybody have any questions? Art, what did you guys find?
Yeah, we tried to teach a pretty center rotation and not let them wait in.
Yeah,
There's just not enough time to get back to the ball.
that's right. Art taught lapels that were coming out to our place. So once they got here, then the rest of it was easy. Once they got were staying on the front, turning, staying here, it was easy to teach speed. It was easy to teach the rotational speed back and through to help them with the distances. But as they changed speeds, I wanted to make sure the graphs didn't change. Because the graph changed, the launch monitor would change. So I wanted, if you wanted to launch it at 30 and hit it 50, 60, 70 yards, to be a good wedge player, you have to control launch angle, spin, and distance. If that launch angle is changing, your distance control is going to change as well.
That's great. I really love the inclusion of vertical force. How many people have ever been told you got to like stay down through your chips? I don't want to thin it. I don't want to chunk it. A lot of people try to quiet their lower body in short game. And what we're learning now, and I think we saw some of this last night, a vertical force applied to the handle of the club actually increases that flat spot, the 3D flat spot down the bottom.
That's what I found, is the flat spot flattened out and elongated.
Right. And so that's something that is very interesting to me, to be able to use the ground to create vertical forces in a chip shot. I mean, it would be something that kind of go against conventional wisdom.
Well, but your touch and feel comes from your rotation, comes from your core. Mm-hmm. How can you have touch and feel if you stay centered? Mm-hmm. If we were playing catch, you wouldn't do this. You would, if I wanted to throw it over to the golf shop sign, I wouldn't go this way. Mm-hmm. It would be here with a pivot.
Right.
And same thing in putting. People want to stay still. Why? You don't stay still. I don't know, an athletic motion that you stay still in.
So the same things apply in putting? Would you actually see a vertical force in a putting stroke?
A little bit.
A little bit. Interesting. What else have you learned from the force plate based on, or in putting?
In putting, the pressure in putting is a little bit more left than right, mm-hmm. and more in the heels. It's 55-45 left, 60-40 heels. And I didn't understand why until I put the gears on it and did some 3D work. The players that had their pressure in their heels or had their hip sockets behind their ankles had less thrusting. They weren't moving. They weren't moving into. It's not my club. I'm not worried. They weren't moving this way. As the pelvis moves this way on a longer putt, you stand up, and then when you stand up, you start hitting. You start losing your center. Now, I'm not wanting to get everybody in the center, but good players have the spot where they hit the ball.
Right.
And if it's a little heel, it's a little toe, that's okay, as long as you're their center. Mm-hmm. And the players that had their pelvis back on the 3D, had their weight back, had more of a centered hit more consistently on longer putts.
Interesting.
And that was, I didn't understand because I had a force plate underneath my platform for years and didn't understand why I saw what I saw with the good players. But then when I put the gears on it and I saw less of this and the spine staying more centered and rotating this way, it made sense.
So for putting in general, pressure a little bit forward?
For most people, not everybody,
right.
For most people, a little bit forward, hip sockets behind the ankles, getting the pressure a little bit in the heels.
More in the heels.
You know, when we were taught balls of your feet.
Right.
Well, balls of your feet, you're actually out over, and that will also get the path working more this way. Now, path's not that important in putting.
Right.
But it will get the path working out to in, and then out to in, you better not get the face with that path.
Right. Interesting. Anybody have any short game questions?
Okay.
All right, so you're coming into it. I sense the force, but the club, are you going up and back, or are you pushing back that way?
On a finesse wedge. No. On a bunker shot. Well, they unfortunately, I don't put sand down. I'd love to do that. But
me too.
They won't send me a demo to do that with.
No.
But on like a shot over the bunker, that's more okay. A shot where you're trying to hit it nice high over the, it's more forward. It stays forward that way, and the handle is actually sitting backwards, so you're taking the loft and adding loft. No, from there, well, there's a little bit because as you turn, this leg straightens, you have to come up. I'd rather see that than stay down. I see more people hitting behind it because they've been told to stay down, to keep their head down and stay there.
You're good.
That's not my shit. I'm not worried. They stay down. They hit behind it, and their buddies say, you lifted your head. You got to stay down, and they're doing more. I see more people doing this than I do up here. I want to see them finish high and forward. I want to see them up here tall on the finish with the center of the rib cage left of target because it's rotated through. When they stay down, this goes up, this stops, this backs up. Ball could go anywhere. Chunk, fin, flip, block.
Good. Another question right here.
Question. Yeah.
So I've heard a lot about like a 30-degree launch angle, wedge shots. I've also heard recently like 25 and 35 degrees. I'm curious as to what you look for the different distances of wedges.
What depends what you, those are people that are trying to hit it low and spin it.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, his question, and correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, is you've heard a lot about launching it at 30 degrees or less, 25 to 30. Those are the people that are trying to launch it low and spin it. That is the low spinner, staying forward, ball centered to back, really putting the verticals up, which, like Doc said, it flattens the low point, it flattens down here and shallows it out where you can hit it low in the face, the ball's back, using the 54. Now, trying to hit the high shot over the bunker, you better not launch it at 30 because it ain't stopping. So it depends on what you're trying to do with the ball. And those, for some reason, they're teaching a lot, or some people want to see a lot of the low spinners. I'm not a huge fan of spinning it.
It's a sexy shot. though.
Exactly. And if you mishit it, there's no margin for error.
Right.
It's either perfect or it's bad. No. You live in Chicago. You can come ask anytime. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so you mentioned with the sweep cameras, it's like
55, 45 left, 40, 60 heels.
yeah, so
For most people, not everybody, for most people.
I think some of them really are predicated by where the ball position is, or you want to pull in your stance.
The 60-40 absolutely is not. That is purely to keep you in balance where you're not going standing up and so. Michael, go tell Nicole what you asked, because I don't remember. ADHD, man, 10 seconds, 12 seconds is all I got. You should know better.
I have the same problem.
I know.
Basically, I was asking about the weight distribution.
Go talk to Nicole. She's the one that wanted to know. Michael will tell you what he asked.
All right. Any more questions for our 2023 PGA Teacher of the Year?
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time. I think the more we learn about short game and how we can use the ground to be more efficient, I think we can really help our players.
Oh, there's no doubt.
And that's something that, could go against conventional wisdom, using vertical force in short game, and I think could be very useful to help our players get better. And I'm going to play with it, that's for sure.
Yeah, try with it.
Yeah.
It was fun.
My short game needs some work. Thank you, Kevin.
Doc, thank you for everything you do to educate us on ground force reaction. Because most of us, I can't speak for everybody, but I know some people out there, we barely got through physics, much less anything else.
Physics. Perfect.